Christmas inch this past Christmas. Though much calmer, I still look like a little cat. Ran down the side of my face from smiling way too much. I stopped just above the jaw, the wake of red witch, hungry stroke, or stork of a tree that is now turning white. Growing from its head, dive-bombed a crispy treat hungry on a mystery date where someone was throwing clay pigeons. Next time, maybe we should just assemble plastic model airplanes in unventilated boxes, or ice skate naked, because Christmas is a spectator sport. This event is to walk around the lake. The sounds of crowds are replaced by the sounds of frightened geese who fly onto the ice, and the ice stresses like a refrigerator door and gives way. When enough geese settle, it starts to crack. And there is a surprise in every squawk. But there's rough-hewn leg hawks under these waters. You, on the other hand, are just a distant voice on the telephone, stuck in an earthquake passion. Time you kept spending on painting as if a tribute. A death-fashioned tablet, conga and mash episodes. Tongues on the breast, thinking about the next drink you're going to have for dinner. I need something appropriately scratched into wet cement. You were there. You weren't in my life. Only your friends who were spared your ego were there. You were so easy. And now the National Park Service is hosting a Jesus Day. They should use the east door of your church so you can keep stealing energy from low kids and putting it in and using it as batteries. Some people will always be coming down from grease fires when they don't keep a clean kitchen. And then lastly, actually I'll read two. Wrote this sitting at Mozart's. The feet passed by me quickly as I stared down at the sidewalk, then focused on an unsteady pen, jotting down the momentary antics and expressions in a riverside world, but barely recognized my existence. Intrepid bicyclists, bathing beauties, handsome young men in colorful pants. The earth could open wide and swallow me whole, and all that would be said is that I was there. They saw that you asked, but none asked how did you feel when it happened. So I think sketch black on white, slide down the wall, catch on the table, observe it divided in thirds by a platter, shadow grays transcending smudged rectangles of glass, sprays of dark iris, of hard curved apples, of vaguely painted bamboo, 5 jointed in 3 boxes, and those boys are sitting over there and I can smell it from here. Timber taking in the whole world above us with equal parts amazement, love, and fear. We catch fire by degree, piecemeal, as it were. As we are touched by the light and the heat of others, until we are consumed and fade like embers in the smoky confusion of dusk, and remain just another exercise in Him. And I'm going to read this last piece. One of the things I looked forward to when I moved to the South was to get a real feel for the blues, for jazz, and I wrote this for Harold McMillan's, who's like one of the torchbearers of jazz and blues here in Texas, and I wrote this for him for his magazine back in 2000. And jazz blows through the wind I live in. It smells of the sweat of free thought America. I breathe jazz life robust, with rhyme and rhythm smack of oral languid coil, not biting unexpected, toxic to all and anything that doesn't move you through the air, that blows all that jazz from every corner to the center of all groove. That groove which, we all sprang from, that wellspring of hips moving, giving birth to time, being restructured into rolling numbers of sensations, embracing the sinuous grip of groove. Beat, drug, trance, you can't walk away, you can only slink, skip, ride, bop, but not walk. Jump, bump, move, but not walk ahead. Wanders off into smoke-filled bottles, a swim liquid room treading, knee pivot cool, dripping you into your chair. You slush, absorb notes so blue, you drown in a red choral interaction of man and horn carved out by hands, slapping skin and gut, slick floating. Read this loss of air. Send us back to the surface, exploding on the surface of our skin. Billy poetry, whispered wet lips. Seashell rushes into no space other than the sound of her voice. She will taunt with almost the truth of a dream. Guitar weaving a cat's cradle of notes, rocking me into a wide-awake trance as the bass cracks my back and the drums my fingers and the groin is rolling my eyes like craps about the room. Serpent eyes, sultry 6 to 9, pleasures spiral into a wager, returned by the motion of your arm releasing the space between musicians. And it's no gamble here, it's nothing but surefire winners, casting a die into the past where groove pays 10 to 1. Lickety split, stooping black man weaving on a guitar, a blanket to keep him warm from the numbing of Kentucky Delta usury, crack of whip time beating him blue and soulful. The blues bruise deep into time, passing cultural shared pain and shame that redeems us, lifts our spirits into spiritual gospel of community sing, wafting through bayou moss and willow to stroke his black forearms, bringing him to hug us with a lesson of rhythm and blues. Worn in dungarees into comfort of trail and trial, through fit into a circle that returns the blue to the heart to be remixed into the purple of the passion we share. And every time he would reach out, every time his hands would touch the guitar, every time her voice, her lips close to the microphone, every time the sticks in his hand, we cross the river Jordan, we cross the Atlantic Sea. We work up from the bottom to the top, the rhythm groove expands within me. You spill over on a sidewalk one day, you notice the clutter of your belongings making rhythm in themselves. That is your beat. Can you make it? Can you groove it? Can you make something of that? Homeless trap dance, homeless happenstance. Over and over again, there is some reflection in that wet street, that harmless man who wants the buck that you tuck in your belt loop. He's full of music. She's dancing to keep from God. And always, always, we have the blues. Thank you. I want to thank Malvern for having me, us. Thank you guys for